He is clocked out.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse.
No,
No, stop, George. I want you over here with me. George,
Who could have guessed Logan Paul got caught being a scummy person yet again? And at this point, I'm of course not even surprised that he got caught being a scumbag again. I'm just questioning what drives a ton of these like larger creators to just be absolutely horrible people. Like there are a lot of good ones, but there are a whole lot of bad ones as well. Like I swear you have to go out of your way to be a bad person, especially to the extent that he's gonna be doing it in this video. But trash talking Logan Paul aside, because we're definitely going to have a chance to do a ton of that in this video. Today, we're going to be mainly talking about George Janko and how he not only exposed Logan Paul for being a horrible person, but also having a terribly run podcast. So getting into it, this all starts off with Logan Paul's podcast that he runs with Mike something. I'm not too sure how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try, but it's something wacky. And of course, George Janko. Now, before we even get into what happened, I feel like I need to address the fact that these two people on this show are literally like the polar opposites, yin and yang, if you will. For the most part, George Janko is just your normal guy with his own thought process and his own unique takes on pretty much every situation, whereas this Mike guy seems like some sort of weird like offspring or like attachment to Logan Paul. Whatever Logan Paul does or says goes. He'll agree with it and defend it until he dies, even if it's just something that's just straight up wrong. He'll genuinely do absolutely anything to appeal to his glorious overlord Logan over here. But now that we know about these people, we can really start getting into it. So this entire story pretty much comes from one specific podcast where they had Bobby Lee as their guest. And this is also the podcast that George just got up and quit. Now, this story may be a bit hard to follow at first, but I promise it's all gonna come around and make sense. And I feel like the best way to start it is to just show you the clip of him quitting and walking out.
He is clocked out.
Yeah, I know.
George has been under a tremendous amount of abuse.
No,
Stop, George. I want you over here with me. George, I want you over here with me. Chase him down. Go. You find him. George, no, go get him.
Now after that clip, you might be thinking that I cut it wrong or I didn't put in the rest of the context and it kind of looks confusing and weird that he just got up and walked out. But that's exactly how it's supposed to be, and that's going to be one of the major points of today's video. Logan Paul intentionally cut out everything in that podcast that would give people the reason that George just got up and left. And for the longest time, since they cut the clip in this way, people were really just calling him a punk and all types of other names because they originally thought that the reason he got up and quit is because he couldn't handle the jokes that their guest Bobby Lee was making. But of course, we found out that that obviously wasn't the reason, and like I said, Logan Paul intentionally cut out a bunch of key moments that leads to the reason that he upped and left. But now that we got a bit more of the backstory, we're going to be getting into the video that George recently uploaded confronting Mike Wacky and pretty much talking about everything that went on with the Bobby Lee situation and just generally working for Logan Paul's podcast.
He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick.
I don't think...
How would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick,
Right.
talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living breaks off of this guy? Because Logan makes me apologize to this man, or I don't have a job on Impulsive anymore. How fucking crazy is that?
I don't think I understood. I can only speak for myself.
Bro, it's on a group chat.
I hope you can understand
it's on a group
that.
Chat.
No, I'm talking about during the episode.
So like you seen in that clip, he's basically saying that what really made him quit was in that episode, Bobby Lee was allegedly reaching over multiple times to grab his private parts as some sort of like weird wacky joke, which I mean, I don't know what type of jokes they're into, but that's sure not one that I've ever heard of. But he also says after that happened, Logan and Mike made him apologize or else he'll lose his job on Impulsive. And this really just sets the entire tone for how scummy Logan Paul is and how bad this entire situation is. One of the members of your team and allegedly one of your best friends gets sexually assaulted during a podcast, and instead of deciding to help him out and maybe side with him, you just completely turn on him and not only disagree with him, but make him apologize, threaten his job, and then still upload the video while cutting out literally everything that he has in there to defend himself, solely to make him look like a complete idiot. And speaking of him threatening his job, that's really the main reason that George says that he hasn't talked about this until now, is because Logan has been blackmailing him this entire time.
Yeah.
Okay, the Bobby Lee situation.
Who was the first person that jumped off the couch and said, George just left, that was not good, we have to fix this situation?
But did they not cut shit that you should have stood up for me and said, hey, you can't cut that shit? That's gonna make him look like an idiot for leaving.
Okay, let's slow down, and I'll answer that. We have always cut. This is all healthy, by the way. We have always cut.
Start crying.
No.
Which by the way
would be healthy. We have numerous times on the show, which I'm sure a number of shows do, cut things that we believe will protect the integrity or reputation of the guest.
That protected nobody but him.
No, of the guest. That's what I'm trying.
Well, what about the guy that you break bread with, bro?
So like you seen there, Mike just straight up admitted to cutting shit from their podcast. And it's not even oh yeah, we like mispronounced a word or we fucked up a little bit on a little part right there. Let's just cut it and do it over. They're cutting out genuine critical information to the podcast that could potentially change someone's entire image, and they're just cutting shit out just to make themselves look better. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm watching a podcast, I assume the things said and the takes given aren't some sort of like hyper curated thing that they did a million takes to do when they cut out half of the shit they said. I assume it's just them talking and giving their genuine thoughts and the entire story. It's not, oh, this guy said something or did something that we don't necessarily agree with and it makes us look slightly worse, so we're just gonna cut it all out. Especially when it's something as important as one of your team members getting sexually assaulted. Like, what? That's actually crazy. He just sat here and blatantly admitted to deleting those parts of the clip to make the guest look better, when he's the one that did something that really, when it comes down to it, is just straight up illegal.
But we removed a number of things that you said on the podcast.
Name one.
Well, no, I'm not going.
Booty, bro.
No.
Once.
Do you want me to?
Name
There was
one.
something that you said on the laser beam episode.
What laser beam episode?
Do you remember laser beam in Australia when we did that episode? I'd rather not say. I can tell. Why don't I just tell you?
Just tell me. I'll beep it.
You said something about like laughing at a girl getting hit in like a parking lot. You saw like a fight.
Yeah, I just said the joke wrong.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't sexually harass somebody, man.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to die a 1-to-1. I'm just saying
But you, okay, Mike, if this was an episode that was you, and what happened to you, and then the whole world thinks that I walked away because I can't take a joke, that's
The more and more we watch this and listen to this Mike guy talk, I'm sure you guys can understand a bit better now what I was talking about when I say he'll do everything he can to defend Logan Paul. There's genuinely just straight up no way possible that he can defend what they did whatsoever, but he's dying on this hill trying to. He even tried to toss in and say like, oh yeah, we cut a bunch of things for you as well, man. Come on, we've done it for you too. And then George follows that up by putting him on the spot and saying name one. And the example that he names is just a horrible one. They cut him wording a joke the wrong way. Of course that's something that would be cut. That falls in the normal lines of what would be cut. If you word something wrong, you messed up the joke a bit and you just do it again or move on. George also asks him to put himself in his shoes and just think that if he was in that situation, wouldn't he feel pretty betrayed as well? And then he just immediately starts his bullshit, well, like dude, like I said, you claim that this is one of your best friends, and you're still defending Logan Paul when he did something that was just blatantly and objectively wrong against your alleged best friend.
But after the episode, do you remember when you called me? And I said, Mike, this is all that happens, and you said, verbatim, you said, it's our fault for not telling you this, but me and Logan are really the ones who should be talking to the guest. You are really there for a boys only episode. So while I get sexually harassed, my other co-host is trying to fire me, and you're trying to leverage me to be quiet during other guests. And then on my birthday, you guys shot 3 episodes, so I couldn't show up.
I just think
on my 30th birthday, you shot 3 episodes. Bro.
I think
that's crazy. It was on the calendar for months.
I think by the time we got there, there was so much like confusion and
this guy is such a sad person, dude. I swear he is. He's trying so hard to defend Logan Paul when he's just objectively and blatantly wrong, like I said, that he doesn't even have anything to say because he knows that he's wrong, but he just wants to die on the hill of defending his glorious overlord. You sound like a fucking DJ over here trying to get your words out, dude. The reason you're struggling so hard is because you don't have anything to say, because you know what you're saying is bullshit. It's also just some crazy shit that was going on with this situation in general. Like, what type of statement is that to blatantly tell one of your friends slash co-host of your show that their main role is to really just sit there and basically just be the punching bag and talk as little as possible? They blatantly told him that they don't want him talking to the guests. And then on top of that, on his birthday when he couldn't be on the show, they went behind his back and intentionally shot 3 full episodes solely because of the reason that he isn't there. Like, these people are handling this situation horribly. These are alleged grown-ups, man. If you don't fuck with him that much, just fire him. Y'all are doing some petty, like, middle school or high schooler shit. While he's out for his birthday party, we're gonna shoot 3 episodes without him because he can't be in the show. Yeah, that'll get him. He'll feel like a complete loser after this. Yeah, look at what he's missing out on. Like, what is this?
Was because I was always the one that was there. I was always the one standing up for you.
The last straw for me was, Mike, I had to escape. I had to leave for my own fear. When Logan came after me for my religion, the show hit rock bottom and we weren't getting paid. I was getting paid $5,000 a month, and that's covering just Reed. I have a mortgage. I have my sister that works for me. I have Belle. I'm trying to get married. I had all these things. So I had to start my own show because we're not making money on this show, and I'm getting pushed out of this show.
Well, at the time, we weren't making money. You made money on the show.
So there's 2 pretty big things that were said there. The first one being with George's religion. A while back, it looks like there was another drama with Logan Paul basically harassing and making fun of George for his religion, which is honestly one of the craziest things so far. That's genuinely just one of the things that you don't do. Like, maybe at a point you become too big to fail, because something like that should definitely cancel somebody. There's no reason or excuse to really ever make fun of someone and basically attack them for their religion. That's some crazy work, especially when it's not even like little wacky jokes or something like that, like poking fun at it, just genuinely insulting him and attacking him. But the other thing he brings up as well revolves around him starting his own show. So when he quit Impulsive, and he also says here that he was basically getting paid nothing, he started his own podcast mainly so he can actually make some sort of money, on top of the other reason that they basically kept threatening him every chance they get that, oh, we're gonna kick you off of the Impulsive team. Mike and Logan were also pretty much harassing him the entire time and saying, oh yeah, you're nothing without Logan, your podcast will never succeed. So it's nice to see that not only has his podcast succeeded, but it's doing great.
When I got pushed out, and I'm seeing that I'm getting pushed out, and I start my own show, do you know what my final straw was?
What?
I got my show going, and then not only was I controlled and pushed around on Impulsive, but then Logan's making calls and directing my show. And I'm saying, hey man, you can't tell me what to do on my own show. That's not okay.
What's that about?
He told me that I couldn't take Celsius. And then I said, hey man.
He didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius.
Messages.
No, he didn't tell you that you couldn't take Celsius. He
says if I take Celsius, I'm not a part of Impulsive.
Then he told you that if you take Celsius, that you cannot continue to be on Impulsive, which is the core driver for Prime, as you're going to continue to funnel viewership from the Impulsive show back to your show, which promotes a competitive product. Yeah. He also told you that if you wait 6 months after the deal's done, you're more than welcome to rejoin the show if you need to make money.
But they're always trying to find a way to push me out.
I'm gonna just say it right here. This Mike guy definitely doesn't see George as a friend whatsoever. He's doing everything in his power to go against what he says. At this point, he almost seems like Logan Paul's lawyer. He's just bringing up everything he can try to grasp hold onto to put whatever George is saying to rest. And with the Celsius thing, he was basically saying that he got some sort of sponsorship from Celsius, and Logan and Mike were basically saying that, hey, if you take this sponsorship, we're just gonna completely cut you because, oh yeah, that's a competing brand and then you're gonna take traffic from us, which he's definitely not. I think at this point, Prime is $1 billion company, so you think that a guy with nowhere near as much pull can set a can of Celsius on the table and take a ton of traffic away from Prime? Like what? He'll take 2 people max. It's genuinely just crazy that they're hyper managing him and degrading him while he's on their team, and now they're trying to hyper manage and put him down even when he's doing his own thing.
I don't.
You know what he told me? I think that was a fair. This is a guy who's sending us screenshots of $11 million a week that he's making. Okay, and on top of that, we never got any money from Prime, and we own that show. So technically, we should have gotten a percentage of that. I never asked for it like the way you did. I stayed the fuck out of it. I didn't care. Because I'm grateful for what I'm making. I'm going to go start my own business. I will take half the deal that Celsius gives me. Half. If you want to put it on the table for my show, a quarter, work with me. He says, I won't pay you a dime. You're here because of me. And then I said, well, what do you want me to do for my bills, bro? I got no money. And he says, go have your rich dad pay for it.
Listen,
that's fighting words, bro. Look at me.
No,
that's
but
fighting words, bro. You don't bring up somebody's father.
Would you say
bro.
that the way that you handled it from a word standpoint was mature, acceptable?
What did I say? That I beat the fucking brakes off of him?
Correct.
If he was in front of me, I would have swung at him.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
This situation genuinely gets worse by the second. So after that Celsius deal, he was like, hey, Logan, well, if you really don't want me to do that, I'll put Prime on the table instead. And all you have to do is give me half, even a quarter of what Celsius is offering me with this deal because I need to make money somehow. And not only did he not give him the deal, but then he insulted him and said, oh yeah, go get the money from your rich dad. Like I said, I know at this point he's probably too big to fail, but I mean, you can only pray for Logan's downfall, dude. I also want to go back to the point that he said he was only making $5,000 a month, and while making that $5,000 a month, Logan is actively sending him messages of him making over $11 million a week. It's truly crazy how much of an asshole you can be. This makes it seem like this guy did something crazy to deserve this sort of treatment. This is some shit you'd see Joker doing to Batman. Hey Batman, look what I did to this gas station. I blew it up and I'm gonna keep sending you pictures of me doing heinous acts.
I told you you're a piece of shit. Everyone knows it.
Yes.
You need to, but dude, I meant every word of it.
That's crazy.
No, I'm not.
That's crazy. That's insane. If you fell out and you started doing scummy moves to your friend, I called you out on it, But I didn't do anything.
Bro, not you, not Caleb, not Kevin, not Dylan. Nobody fucking called me when I got fired. Not one person called me. You know what I get a call from? Logan saying, at least Mike wouldn't do this. And an hour later, calls me and they say, hey, he's trying to get this deal.
But you know why I was trying to get the deal.
I get it. It's money. But why
No. This business and friendship thing is very hard to navigate. You're an incredible fucking human being. I love you and I wish nothing but the best for you. And your response to that really hurt me. I'm here to say that today on the show, it
Mike,
hurt me.
Your actions hurt me every day.
But what actions?
The fact that you would stand up for me on camera and then as soon as it cuts, being like, I'm gonna look so good that I stood up for you. There was intentions behind it, bro. You never cared.
Oh, so you're.
Wow, it's crazy that this guy genuinely sat here and thought that he had the right to say that he feels offended by the words that this guy is saying. You and Logan have been sitting here harassing, degrading, and just making George's life horrible for who knows how long, and then George calls you a piece of shit, and now you have the audacity to say that you're offended. He's also just sitting here spewing lies, talking about, oh, I care about you, man, you're my best friend. Like, dude, you have to prove it. You can't just say something and do the complete opposite. You didn't even try to help or defend George, not even once throughout this entire situation, and you allegedly care for him so much.
Do you think what I went through was fair?
I think it's complex. I think,
That's crazy, Mike. I wouldn't put my own enemies what I went through, bro.
I think, like, dude, that's all we needed to hear. He just sat here and asked you the simplest yes or no question ever that has an objectively correct answer, and you couldn't even give him that. I think it's a complex situation. You sound like Courage the Cowardly Dog over here, man. At this point, I don't even know who's worse in this situation. Logan Paul or this Mike Wacky guy for trying so hard to defend his glorious overlord that he's fucking over his alleged best friend. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this situation, and all we can really hope for at this point is that Logan Paul and this Mike guy especially see some sort of consequence or some sort of downfall after all of this. But with that said, if you made it this far in the video, you probably liked something, so you may as well drop a sub. And speaking of subs, I just want to toss in a quick thanks for not only getting to 600, but absolutely smashing the goal. I left a comment on like a video 3 days ago or something saying, hey, we're close to 600, let's try to get there. Y'all absolutely obliterated it. Not only did we get to 600, but we went to like 640 overnight. So I just want to give y'all a quick thanks for that, and we're going for 1,000. I know it's pretty far away, but we're gonna get there sooner or later, so you may as well sub. But yeah, with that said, I'm not gonna hold y'all for too long, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.